This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to talk about spending Bitcoin versus spending US dollars. And today's video is a follow-up to yesterday's video, which was called How to Defund Governments. And I'll put a link to that in the description notes below. In that video, I made the argument about the best way to defund governments. Number one, buy things using Bitcoin. Number two, ask to get paid in Bitcoin. Number three, once lots of people are earning Bitcoin and spending Bitcoin, we can tell the government to go pound sand. Governments then go bankrupt since they can't confiscate, in other words, steal, tax, or freeze Bitcoin from people who are holding their own private keys. And since funding itself with the money printer, governments funding themselves with the money printer will no longer work at that point because everyone will be using a money that cannot be printed, namely Bitcoin. I also discussed some things that are unlikely to defund governments, namely launching Bitcoin treasury companies, funding think tanks, LARPing on social media, and voting harder. One of the responses from UCFJ was, big hole in that argument. They can't take away your Bitcoin, but they sure can put you in jail for not paying taxes. A fully Bitcoin economy doesn't solve this. My response, yes, of course this is true, but they can't put the entire population in jail. There will be martyrs, but governments have no power if enough of the population refuses to go along. Then the question came up, isn't this a dumb idea to spend your Bitcoin when it's going up 40% every year on average, while the US dollar is going down and losing purchasing power every year? There are a couple of answers for that. Number one, wait, you still own some US dollars? That's very quaint of you. Number two, if you hold only Bitcoin and would prefer not to starve, wouldn't you need to spend some Bitcoin, or at least convert some of it to fiat in order to spend? Number three, I don't think there's anything really virtuous about sitting on large amounts of US dollars, just so you can virtue signal on social media about not spending or selling any Bitcoin. And number four, it's important to consider the opportunity cost, because when you spend any money, whether Bitcoin or US dollar, the opportunity cost really is the same. Those US dollars could have been used to buy Bitcoin or food or euros or whatever. That Bitcoin could have been hodled instead of being spent or converted to fiat and then spent. I try to practice what I preach in terms of my own business and trying to help to stimulate the formation of a general Bitcoin circular economy. So I do accept Bitcoin on my paid site. You can click right here where it says pay with Bitcoin. And a good way to handle this as a merchant I found is to offer a discount. So the site is normally $79 per month, but if you pay with Bitcoin, it's $69 per month. And so I save on transaction fees and purchasers get a discount. So this is one way you can motivate people to pay you in Bitcoin. There's another interesting psychological wrinkle when it comes to earning and spending Bitcoin. If you have $100 in your wallet versus $100 worth of Bitcoin in your wallet, I found it's actually much more psychologically painful to spend that $100 worth of Bitcoin than it is to spend the $100 of fiat. And so I think this in itself is a pretty good braking mechanism when it comes to reducing one's own personal spending. So going all in on Bitcoin may have the added effect that you end up with even more Bitcoin since you reduce your personal spending at the same time, because when you're sitting mostly on Bitcoin, you're really loath to buy anything, or you think twice definitely before doing frivolous purchases. Some good places to find merchants who accept Bitcoin is the BTC map, btcmap.org, which I'll put a link to in the description notes below. Then there's also Bitrefill, which allows you to buy gift certificates using Bitcoin. I think it's much better to pay a merchant directly in Bitcoin, but this is another way to spend Bitcoin by purchasing all these very popular gift cards. If you want a good wallet for spending Bitcoin, I really like the Aqua wallet. You can download from aqua.net or from any of the app stores, as well as the Bull Bitcoin wallet, which I'm still in the process of playing around with. But those are two solid mobile wallets that you can use to spend Bitcoin using on-chain payments or using Lightning. There are a number of questions like this on the video. Do I need to move all my savings into Bitcoin, including retirement savings from my Roth? And my response was, it's fine to leave money in government managed accounts or banks if you trust the government and bankers. But again, you shouldn't go all into Bitcoin until you've done your research. And so it's much better to just go in slowly, gradually, and slowly convert to living on a Bitcoin standard in your life. I wanted to conclude this video by briefly referring to Bitcoin Pizza Day, which occurred on May 22nd, 2010, and is celebrated every year on May 22nd. But back in 2010, this was when Laszlo spent 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 Papa John pizzas, probably the first use of Bitcoin as a medium of exchange to make a purchase. Some people say this was a dumb move since that Bitcoin's now worth about $890 million, but I would argue the opposite. I think it was actually a very good move since this purchase showed the world that Bitcoin could be used as money, as a medium of exchange. And those two pizzas at the time, they're worth about $40 for two pizzas, so $20 per pizza. So that puts the value of one Bitcoin on that day at about 4/10 of a penny. So Laszlo really, if he wanted to, he could have easily bought back that 10,000 Bitcoin from a friend. He probably could have bought 100,000 Bitcoin from a friend if he had wanted to. So he was basically, he could have been using what we call the spend and replace method these days, where you try to, in order to jumpstart the Bitcoin circular economy, you try to always spend Bitcoin with merchants. And if you need to, you could buy $100 worth of Bitcoin at a time and then spend it. And so this would be spend and replace. And in this case, you wouldn't really be touching your cold storage stash or long-term savings of Bitcoin. What's not widely known about Bitcoin Pizza Day is that at the time, Laszlo was mining Bitcoin using GPUs and was making too much Bitcoin because he had so much computing power. So Satoshi put some pressure on him to stop mining so much, and perhaps also at the same time put some pressure on him to spread the wealth around by spending some of that Bitcoin. We can see here, this is from the book Digital Gold. How did Laszlo have all those Bitcoins? It's not widely known, but in April 2010, Laszlo was essentially the first person to experiment with using the GPU card in his computer to more efficiently mine Bitcoins. Before that, most Bitcoin users had been employing their much less efficient CPU to do the computations. Laszlo's CPU had been winning at most one block of 50 Bitcoins every day of the approximately 140 blocks that were released daily. Once Laszlo got his GPU card hooked in, he began winning 1 or 2 blocks in an hour and occasionally more. When Laszlo first emailed Satoshi and told him about his plans to mine with his GPU, Satoshi had mixed feelings. Here's the email Satoshi wrote to Laszlo, which we still have. So this is Satoshi writing here. A big attraction to new users is that anyone with a computer can generate some free coins. When there are 5,000 users, that incentive may fade, but for now it's still true. GPUs would prematurely limit the incentive to only those with high-end GPU hardware. It's inevitable that GPU compute clusters will eventually hog all the generated coins, but I don't want to hasten that day. And here's Satoshi. He didn't really anticipate the birth of ASICs, these very specialized mining machines that are even more efficient than GPUs. So Satoshi goes on saying basically, if GPUs are much less evenly distributed, the generated coins go only towards rewarding 20% of the people for joining the network instead of 100%. I don't mean to sound like a socialist, Satoshi writes. I don't care if wealth is concentrated, but for now we get more growth by giving that money to 100% of the people than giving it to 20%. So this was one way of sort of equalizing his stash of Bitcoin by spending it and using it as a medium of exchange. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. That really helps. Also, you can follow me on Nostr. I'll put a link to this in the description notes below. And if you'd like to join the weekly email list in case this channel ever gets banned, I'll put a link to this forum in the description notes below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.